And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Welcome to Alaska Weather. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service in Alaska region on this Saturday, November 16th, 2024. And if you'd like additional weather information on top of what I provide in this YouTube video, you can go to weather.gov. It'll bring you to the National Weather Service's online presence. There'll be a map of the continental U.S. with Hawaii and Alaska to the lower left, and then tabs for the territories. If you point and click anywhere on this map, it'll give you a very specific forecast for anywhere in the nation, including any relevant watches, warnings, or advisories. And there's all sorts of other information, too, to find on this site. Quick check of the continental U.S. on this Saturday afternoon. Still elevated fire weather concerns in areas of southern New England. There's a flood watch, Oklahoma, Texas, as some storms will be developing with the potential for some heavier rainfall. And then across the northern Rockies, we have some winter storm warnings and winter weather advisories. Of note in Hawaii, much of Hawaii has red flag warnings for critical fire weather conditions due to warm temperatures, very low humidities, and then brisk trade winds. So those red flag warnings there in effect for Hawaii. And then here in Alaska, we still have some storm force winds that'll continue tonight and into Sunday in the western part of the Gulf, the Barren Islands, Kamishak Bay, Lower Cook Inlet there at Kennedy Entrance, Shelikof Strait. Also, winds will be picking up along the eastern Beaufort Sea coast, where there will be some blowing snow, winter weather advisory there for Sunday evening into Monday evening, and areas of the northern Bering and Chukchi Seas have heavy freezing spray warnings at this time. And then a winter storm watch for the western and northern Seward Peninsula up through Point Lay and the western Brooks Range. That's coming up for Monday night, Tuesday into early Wednesday. And looking at what we have here, Kivalina has that winter storm watch in effect for late Monday night, Tuesday into early Wednesday. Right now, just mostly cloudy, 11 degrees. But there is going to be a windy frontal system that's going to bring in some moderate to heavy precipitation, but very strong gusty winds, and temperatures actually rising. Nome, mostly cloudy, 12 degrees, a few breaks there, looking off toward the northeast. And then Homer, broken cloud cover this Saturday afternoon, 30 degrees, some very strong winds, though, out there toward Kamishak Bay and out through the Barren Islands. Expect some storm force gust as a result of colder air coming in through the gaps, northwest winds. Cake almost looks a little like a scene out of Nova Scotia. Partly cloudy, 39 degrees, and the panhandle areas will see some showers, rain showers near sea level, some snow showers as you get toward the inner channels and further north. But these are the current advisories and watches that are in effect. There's a winter weather advisory for the eastern Beaufort Sea coast for Sunday evening through Monday evening. Winds are going to pick up and could gust as high as 50 miles an hour, creating blowing snow visibilities down near a bit below a half mile. That includes Point Thompson through Kaktovik. Now, this area in yellow is the winter storm watch for late Sunday night through Tuesday into early Wednesday. There is going to be a strong system come up across eastern Russia. It's going to have a lot of wind with it, and it's going to be pulling some moist, warmer air northeastward. So as that encounters the cold air that's in place right now, it's going to be heavier snow. The area here in the southwest slopes of the Brooks Range could see 6 to 12 inches of snow with blizzard conditions. That would include places like Kivalina, Red Dog Mine, Noatak, Selawik, areas around Kotzebue. And then we also have this area here in the Bering Strait, the north and west side of the Seward Peninsula, including Wales, Shishmaref, down through Steller and Port Clarence. These areas could also see blizzard conditions there as we get into late Monday night, Tuesday. And as the warmer air comes in, there could even be a bit of a mix of precipitation here in the southern Seward Peninsula and around Norton Sound, including Nome. Could actually see the precipitation mixed with some freezing rain, sleet, and rain as this push of much milder air comes northeastward. And that's also going to cause some additional snow to spread eastward as we go through midweek. So stay tuned, because this area will likely be upgraded to some sort of warning and or advisories here when I present again on Sunday. So looking at the satellite imagery, we have a low pressure that's sitting here in the northwestern Gulf. That low is going to push south-southeastward here through early next week. There's a front arcing out ahead of it, pushed up into the Panhandle and extending off of the Washington-Oregon coast. There's another low out here just along and southwest of the western Aleutians. This low is not going to have a lot of impact, kind of heading more toward the east-southeast. Here's just kind of a hint of that system that's going to be coming up through the Asian mainland along and inland from the Kamchatka coast and the Russian coast. But that's going to spread some very windy conditions with a push of milder, moist air, and as that encounters the cold air over the Bering Strait and the northwest parts of the mainland, that's going to lead to some nasty winter weather here to start out the week. So here's the low this Saturday afternoon in the northwest Gulf, 982 millibar low, with the front extending out toward the east. Lagging trough of low pressure lags back here through the west side of the state up toward the lower Chukchi Sea, and then the one low that's well southwest of the western Aleutians. For late tonight, early Sunday morning, that low moves a little east and it's going to begin to drop southeastward during the day on Sunday. High pressure up here. We have high pressure located over eastern Russia and also here beginning to take a foothold across the north slope. That is going to become a dominant feature. That is going to build southeastward so that by Tuesday afternoon, we could see a 1050 millibar high pressure system over the lower Yukon territory, which means some very cold temperatures are going to sit up here across central, eastern, interior, and along the Alcan border. Now, as we get into Sunday afternoon, that low still there in the northern Gulf, about 985 millibars, still getting some strong northwest winds, lower Cook Inlet, Kamishak Bay, Shelikof Strait, outside of Kennedy entrance into the western Gulf. Could still be some storm force winds into Sunday. There's the hint of that push of warmer air coming in along the eastern Asian mainland. And as we get into Monday, there is that system. As it works its way northeastward, it's going to create a round of heavier snow, especially in this area of the southwest slope of the western Brooks Range, as I mentioned earlier. Places like Kivalina, Red Dog Mine, Noatak, Selawik, Kotzebue. Potentially see some very heavy snow with near blizzard or blizzard conditions. Also with the winds, there could be a period of blizzard conditions the western and northern Seward Peninsula. So stay tuned to later updates as I'm sure advisories and warnings are coming. The low in the northern Gulf begins to slip south-southeastward back down into the North Pacific and gradually begins to fill. Meanwhile, that high pressure I was talking about over the north slope will continue to build and head southeastward so that by the time we get into Tuesday afternoon, that could be a 1050 high over the lower Yukon territory. So in the meantime, low temperatures Sunday morning should still, in most areas, be above freezing in the Panhandle. 6 above here, though, in the Copper River Basin. 17 Anchorage, 3 below on the other side of the Alaska Range at McGrath. Even the Seward Peninsula, or I should say the Kenai Peninsula temperatures, teens and 20s for lows. So this is colder, 25 down there to Kodiak City. So definitely colder air is being drawn southward as that high builds southward, and we have the gap winds out of the northwest allowing the drainage of that colder air. High Sunday afternoon may reach low 40s at Ketchikan, Craig, up towards Sitka, but otherwise 30s extending from around Petersburg up through Juneau and Skagway. Only 8 above there at Glen Allen for the high, 20-ish for Anchorage. It's going to be colder temperatures. And then Monday morning lows, we're looking at readings starting now to get below freezing in the northern Panhandle, just above freezing for the outer southwest and southern areas of the Panhandle. 11 below at Glen Allen, 17 below at McGrath. 11 above Monday morning, could even be a little generous for Anchorage Bowl, depending on, I'm sure some of the normally cold spots could be 0.5 above. And then for Monday afternoon, we're looking at temperatures stay below freezing northern Panhandle, mid to upper 30s, Petersburg, Sitka, southward. We're looking at daytime highs sub-zero there in the central northern Copper River Basin. Maybe only in the teens in the Anchorage Bowl and up here toward Talkeetna. Just below freezing there at Kodiak City. Now here's where you're going to start to see these colder temperatures take hold. Low Sunday morning could be 25 to approaching 30 below along the Brooks Range like Anatuvik Pass, but otherwise generally below zero throughout the Yukon, Tanana valleys. And then for Sunday's highs, will stay below zero across much of the north, with the coldest readings here, Anatuvik Pass on over toward Arctic Village. And then by the time we get into Monday morning, look at these lows. As that high continues to build, it's going to be working its way southeastward as the pressure rises. This is going to set the stage for even colder temperatures potentially on Tuesday morning. But we got 20s, 21 below at Fairbanks, 34 below Arctic Village over toward Anatuvik Pass. So some of the normally cold spots will be down around 35 below. Sub-zero readings here along the Arctic coast. But as that front comes up out of the North Bering along the eastern Asian coast, eastern Russian coast, that's going to cause temperatures to be steady to slowly rising because the system will be arriving Monday night. So we're not anticipating the heavier snow or blizzard-like condition, near blizzard conditions until we get into Monday night and on Tuesday morning. But it's a fast-moving system. By Monday afternoon, we have temperatures that remain below zero across much of the interior, with some of the coldest readings here on the southeast slopes of the Brooks Range in the area that includes the Yukon Flats down toward Eagle. But then with that front coming in, 25 for a high there at Savunga. I would expect temperatures for Tuesday will be at or above freezing, knocking on the door here into the western Seward Peninsula, with this area here of the western Brooks Range most favorable with that upslope flow to get the heaviest snowfall with blizzard conditions. So looking out here across the southwest interior, some readings below zero, upper Kuskokwim Valley, and as you creep up the Yukon River, readings below freezing across much of the Alaska Peninsula, though 35 or so. You get back up above freezing through the Aleutians. Sunday afternoon highs, single digits here as you get up toward the middle Yukon, upper Kuskokwim, McGrath, Anvik, up toward Galena, and then only in the 20s along the Kuskokwim and Bristol Bay areas. And then as we drop down on along the Aleutians, you're going to see temperatures rising here. By tomorrow when I do the next broadcast, these readings will be warmer. Wouldn't be surprised to see some 50-degree readings showing up as that push and dome of warmer air comes up out of the North Pacific ahead of that strong East Asian system. So Monday morning lows below zero here across along the west and north side of the Alaska Range in through the interior southwest. And then we find temperatures generally above freezing the eastern through the central Aleutians. And then high temperatures Monday afternoon should stay below zero. And you get up to the north and northeast of Bethel, we're looking at highs to stay sub-zero as you get towards Sleet Mute, and as I said, going up the Yukon River. And here's the temperature outlook as we go through November 22nd through the 26th, approaching Thanksgiving time. Below to much below normal temperatures centered over the Panhandle and generally the eastern half of the mainland, and especially over the southeast portion of the mainland, with maybe temperatures averaging a little above normal along the lower Yukon Delta, Nunavik Island, St. Lawrence, and in through the Aleutians. But with that kind of pattern, that's going to place most of the moisture coming in off of the northern Bering, Chukchi Seas, so the northwest and northern areas of the mainland may see above normal precipitation, especially in the form of snowfall, November 22nd through the 26th. And this would place areas along the Gulf for a change with below normal precipitation, so a colder, drier pattern, especially for the northeastern Gulf and in through the Panhandle, November 22nd through the 26th.